Hello there, welcome to part 20 in the 10 Minutes at the Piano playlist. This time looking at finger precision exercises. As always, in the description below there's a few links to related articles and videos which will help you even more in certain areas and aspects I discuss. I'm going to be using the chromatic scale, major scales and different chord types for the precision exercises. But this is not all about precision. It's also about observing how your hands naturally play the piano. And these exercises will help you with that. Just make sure that you're not sitting too close to the piano and you're not sitting too low. First exercise, jumping straight into it, is to use your thumbs, the same finger on each hand. Begin with the thumbs, go all the way through to the little fingers, and try this exercise in the same octave, same note, chromatically, finding your natural limit, which may be slow in the beginning, but it will increase with time using a metronome. You're playing the same note, one after the other. With your eyes closed, this is going to reduce your conscious interference, and you're going to start to feel a lot more orientated on the piano with your eyes closed. You're not going to be so influenced by the keys or intimidated even. It also helps you to develop your internal piano, because what you see when you're sitting at the piano physically with your eyes open is exactly the same as what you see away from the piano or with your eyes closed. It's the same part of the brain. So if you don't feel that you have a lot of time to practice at the piano, do not worry, because with your internal piano you can do everything away from the piano minus the actual physical movements. A link below on motor imagery, very interesting. So that's the first layer. Let's try this again, but maybe an octave apart, so that may be a bit more of a challenge. Start with the left hand first. The left hand. So what's happening in most people is that your eyes will be jumping left, right, left, right, left, right, trying to get that precision. Left for the D, right for the D, left for the E flat, right for the E flat. And it's going to slow you down. And I promise that if you close your eyes, find your natural limit with the metronome, you will not be as bad as you may think you will be in terms of precision. This is with my eyes closed. No need to go too fast, it's the precision we need, not the speed. Now to take that a little bit even further, so we started with the same finger in the same octave, went into 2 octaves. Now let's try the same idea with the chromatic scale, but using 2 different fingers. So I'll try the left finger, sorry, the ring finger of my left hand, and let's say the middle finger of my right hand, and we'll start from C again in different octaves. So let's just see how that precision goes. So right now my brain is, well, would be, and perhaps yours is, it's now worrying about the fact that you're playing with different fingers. So there's that added level of stress, if you like. Or am I going to play? So now it's not just left, right for the same finger in different octaves. It's now to make sure that the right finger is playing the right note an octave apart. So you're adding these layers of stress, let's say, of need of control. But again, by closing your eyes, you're stopping yourself doing that, and that is removing your conscious interference, and it's so beneficial. I can't even put it into words, really. So that's using the chromatic scale. If you wanted to take that even further to a very mind-bending level, you can try different fingers, but starting on even different notes. So let's just try the left hand index finger and right hand, what haven't I used? Little finger. And we'll start on a different note. I'll start a whole tone apart, actually, it's a bit more different. So now your eyes are jumping not only to the same note, but to a different finger on a different note. And it can get more and more complicated. You could even do more notes per hand. For example, I might start a second apart and then go up 2 notes in the right for 1 in the left. Etc. I'm looking at my screen too much. So that's you can go further and further and further, increasing the speed so that your natural limit increases. That's what you need and that's what you want. You can do the same thing, of course, with major scales. Let's say begin with, say, 2 index fingers, and we'll go up the major scale of C. Have a little look at F with the ring fingers. And taking that another level, we can play, for example, in let's maybe create a rhythm. Let's maybe do 3 notes each time using different fingers. Ring finger, middle finger of the left hand, thumb in the right hand. Doing it in 3s, for example. The reason that's a bit more difficult is because you're starting on a different note. When people learn major scales, very often you'll learn it all in one go. So you'll just know that this is the major scale of F. But if you have to start the major scale on, for example, the A, and go from A to A playing the major scale of F, you might think that that's a whole new pattern that you have to learn. It almost looks like a different scale. Well, in jazz theory it is. It's called Modal Theory. So this actually does have a name. When you play, but still, it's still the major scale. We don't need to go into that, but it's still the major scale notes that you're playing. You know the major scale of F, and you can play any of those notes to the same note an octave higher, only using the notes of the major scale that you're in. So as I just did, I played the major scale of F, which is what I'm holding down, but I played it from A up to the other A. So I would have gone, so I did go A, B flat, C, D, E, continuing in the major scale of F, F, G, A. So that's why that exercise, where you do it in 3s or 4s or 2s, is a little bit more complicated, because you're starting the major scale on a different note, and that can put off a few people. So that's something I do recommend. In jazz, again, link below, in jazz, but don't be put off by the word jazz and improvisation. It's just a theoretical point. When you do play the major scale from each of its notes, each of its 7 notes, they're called degrees, the 2nd degree, 3rd degree, 4th degree, 5th, 6th, 7th, and you play only the notes of the major scale, it's simply called modal theory, and each one has its own name. So apart from, rather than going into the detail of all that jazz theory, you could just use that as an exercise. So let's just try that in the key of E flat. I'll use index fingers. I'll use my ring finger in the right hand, index in the left, just to keep demonstrating different fingers are possible. And I'm going to start maybe on the 4th, which would be A flat. So I'm going to play the major scale of E flat, which I can see with my eyes. The notes just stand out a little more, and the other notes fade away a little bit, physically and on my internal piano. Play index in the left, ring finger in the right, I think that's what I said. Starting on the 4th, but I can still see the major scale of E flat, you see? So I would have to go, not playing the A flat major scale, but playing the E flat major scale from its 4th. So I'm still playing E flat, but from a different place. And that's why that exercise, doing it in 3rds, for example, is difficult in the beginning, because you really need to know the scale. See, I finished on the F here, and I need to start on the G again, start on the B flat, or start on the C. So you're starting in different places. That's a very good challenge. Now we can do all of that, but with chord types. The main chord type is the triad, and then you have the minor triad, and to those you add the 7th of the major scale, which is called the major 7th, the dominant 7th, which is like the flat major 7. You can add the 6th, and you can add those 3 notes on top to the major and or the minor triad. So in the key of C, demonstration key, C major, we can add the major 7, that's called C major 7, C7, or C dominant 7, or C6. And then to that we can do, well, with that rather, we can do it with a minor triad. C minor major 7, C minor 7, C minor 6. So 6 chords, completely logically named. If you can play those in all the 12 keys, you're pretty much made, because everything is going to anything you ever play is going to include some form of those 6 chords. Of course there are a few others, but that's 90% of music. So let's try this exercise using the fingers to play those chord groups. So let's just start with the major 7 in the key of C. With index. First I was going to do it with the correct fingering, but that's another kind of exercise. That is a nice exercise to use your natural fingering. But I want to do this about finger precision. So C major 7, C7. Let's use a different finger in the right hand, little finger. Play C minor 6. So it's these combinations of different fingers and different chords and different major scales and different chromatic scale patterns in 2s and 3s and 4s which you can also do with the major scales, which is really going to help your precision if you especially close your eyes and find your natural limit using the metronome. There's metronomes online for free. Everyone has a smartphone, I guess. You download one on there. If you want to do the chord one with the correct fingering, which of course is recommended as an exercise anyway, there's a nice pattern which you can do, and I'll just give that to you now at the end of the video. It's to play the major 7, 7, minor 7, minor major 7, minor 6, and then normal 6th. It's quite a nice pattern. I'll just give it to you once more. Major 7, dominant 7, minor 7, minor major 7, minor 6, and then 6th. It just sounds quite nice. You could go around there using the pattern that we've just done, and another way is to go around the circle of fourths doing that. So you might play, for example, C. You may try to hit the notes only of the, for example, the minor 7 chord, and then go up a fourth to F, up to B flat. So I'm only looking at the notes of the chord and striking those. It's a nice exercise, and of course you can try that with different fingers, 2 octaves apart, even in the same octave. What's the fingering for this? Like this. That got to, yeah, A flat, D flat, etc., etc. So try those combinations, and you'll find that if you do those every day a little bit with the metronome, with the eyes closed, plus having a look at the other videos and articles perhaps, putting it all together, you'll see great improvements in your general precision when you're playing anything. As always, likes, comments, subscriptions are always welcome. Have a look at my books and blog, and I'll see you in the next video. All the best, and bye for now.